business goes badly. He is always suspected by people. 7. He is not loved by his relatives, his neighbors and his friends. 8. He plants the karmic causes and conditions that produce disrupted homes. 9. At the destruction of the body at the end of his life, he dies and falls into hell. 10. If he is reborn as a woman, many men share her. If he is reborn as a man, his wife will be unchaste. These are the various reasons for not committing this sin. And this is what is meant by renunciation of illicit sexual practices. IV. Abstention from falsehood. 1. Definition of falsehood. Falsehood. With an evil intention, wishing to deceive another, concealing the truth, offering words different from the truth. This is called falsehood. The sin of lying arises in dependence on the intelligibility of the words pronounced, for if these are not understood, there could be an incorrect comment, but it would not be a lie. When one knows, to say that one does not know. When one does not know, to say that one knows. When one sees, to say that one does not see. When one does not see, to say that one sees. When one understands, to say that one does not understand. When one does not understand, to say that one understands. This is what is called falsehood. Not to act in this way is to abstain from falsehood. 2. Punishments for falsehood. Question. What are the punishments for falsehood? Answer. The liar first deceives himself, then he deceives others. He takes the true to be false and the false to be true. Deception relating to true and false prevents the gathering of good dharmas. It is like a closed vase where water cannot penetrate. The mind of the liar is without shame or modesty. He closes the door to the divine destinies and to nirvana. When one thinks about these punishments, one does not lie anymore. Consider also true speech and how great are its advantages. These advantages arise by themselves and are easy to obtain. They are the power of all monastics. Virtuous lay people also share them with the monastics. Moreover, the truthful person has a straightforward mind and, by this straightforwardness, he easily succeeds in escaping from sorrow. It is like a thick forest. If the direction followed is correct, one comes out of it easily. Question. If falsehood brings such punishments, why do people lie? Answer. There are fools, people of little knowledge who, upon meeting with some difficulty, an enemy, or an obstacle, try to escape from it by lying. They ignore that the difficulties will increase and that they will be punished in this very life. They ignore that the future life also has great punishment in store for them. Furthermore, there are people who, even knowing the punishments reserved for lying, nevertheless lie under the sway of desire, hatred or delusion. Finally, there are people who, although feeling no desire or hatred, bear false witness of the faults of others and even think they are right. These after death will fall into hell. Kokalika's mendacious accusations. This is how Kyukei Li, the disciple of Tipo Titub, looked for the faults of Cho Li Fu and Mu Lian. 1. Kokalika proclaims the misconduct of the two disciples everywhere. One day, when the summer retreat was over, these two men were traveling through the land and were caught in a great rainstorm. Having come to the house of a potter, they spent the night there. In this house, there already was a woman who spent the nights there secretly, but the two disciples did not see her. During the night, this woman had a dream and had an emission. The next morning, she went to the water to bathe. Kokalika, who was there by chance, saw her. Kokalika knew how to distinguish traces of sexual emotions but without knowing exactly whether they had taken place in dream or not. Immediately he affirmed to his disciples that this woman had had sexual relations with a man the preceding night. He asked the woman, "Where did you sleep?" She replied, "I stay temporarily at the house of the potter." He asked with whom, and she answered, with 2 bhiksus. At that moment, the 2 disciples came out of the hut. Kokalika saw them, looked him over and declared that these 2 men were definitely impure. First, he felt jealous. Then he went everywhere, in the cities and the villages, proclaiming what he had seen. He went up to the Ganges divulging this slander. 2. Intervention of the god Brahma. In the meantime, Fan Tian Wang came to see the Buddha. But the Buddha had gone into his silent cell to practice meditation in solitude. All the bhiksus also had closed the doors to their cells and were practicing meditation. There was no way to rouse them. Brahma then thought, I have come to see the Buddha, but he is in meditative stabilization. I shall go away. Thinking again, he said to himself, the Buddha will come out of concentration soon. I will wait for him here. He went to the cell of Kokalika, knocked on the door and said, Kokalika, hey Kokalika, Sariputra and Maudgalyayana have pure, sweet and gentle minds. Do not say anything bad against them, for, during the long night you will suffer. Kokalika asked him, who are you? He answered, I am Brahma Devaraja. Kokalika said, the Buddha said that you had attained the state of non-returner. Why then have you returned here? King Brahma thought and spoke the following stanza. To want to measure the immeasurable dharma. When one is unable to grasp its nature. The person who wants to measure the immeasurable dharma is only a stupid layman. Having spoken this stanza, Brahma went to the Buddha and told him what had happened. The Buddha said, good, very good. You have spoken well. And the Buddha repeated the stanza. To want to measure the immeasurable dharma when one is unable to grasp its nature. The person who wants to measure the immeasurable dharma is only a stupid layman. Brahma Devaraja, after hearing the words of the Buddha, disappeared suddenly and returned to the heavens. 3. The obstinacy of Kokalika, his death and fall into hell. Then Kokalika went to the Buddha and, having bowed his head to the Buddha's feet, he stood to one side. The Buddha said to Kokalika, Sariputra and Maudgalyayana have pure, sweet and gentle minds. Say nothing bad about them, for, during the long night you will suffer. Kokalika said to the Buddha, I dare not disbelieve the Buddha's word. However, I know what I saw with my own eyes. I know perfectly well that these 2 men actually committed the sin. 3 times the Buddha reprimanded Kokalika in this way, and 3 times Kokalika did not believe him. Rising up from his seat, he went away. When he went back to his cell, pustules appeared on his body. The size of a grain of mustard seed at first, they grew bigger and bigger to the size of a bean, a jujube, a mango. When they were as large as a bilva fruit, they exploded all together like a blazing mass. With tears and cries, Kokalika died that very night and went to the Lianhuatu hell. During the night, a Brahmadeva went to the Buddha to say, Kokalika has died. Another